President Donald Trump has issued an executive order mandating the declassification of documents tied to three of the most pivotal assassinations in U.S. history, those of President John F. Kennedy, JFK, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, RFK, and civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., MLK. This decision aims to address long-standing public curiosity and speculation surrounding these events. This is a big one, Trump declared while signing the order at the White House. A lot of people have been waiting for this for years, for decades, and everything will be revealed. The fascination with these files spans decades, capturing the interest of researchers, conspiracy theorists, and politicians alike. Many records tied to JFK's 1963 assassination were already made public under a 1992 congressional mandate, which required the files to be released within 25 years, unless the president deemed otherwise for national security reasons. Currently, fewer than 4,700 records remain partially or fully withheld. The executive order outlines a plan for the release of these documents. Within 15 days, the Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General, in collaboration with national security advisors, must submit a detailed strategy for the full release of JFK-related records. For RFK and MLK files, a timeline of 45 days is set. While the release promises greater transparency, the move has reignited debates and speculation. RFK Jr., nephew of JFK and son of RFK, has alleged CIA involvement in JFK's assassination, a claim the agency denies. Similarly, the King family questions whether James Earl Ray acted alone in MLK's 1968 murder. Trump's order underscores his belief that continued redactions are inconsistent with public interest, marking a pivotal step toward resolving decades of unanswered questions. The assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963 remains one of the most scrutinized events in American history, with countless theories and unanswered questions surrounding the case. In an effort to promote transparency and address public curiosity, the U.S. Congress passed a law in 1992 mandating the release of all files related to JFK's assassination. The law required that these records be made public within 25 years, unless the president determined that releasing them would pose a greater threat to national security than the benefit of public disclosure. Since the passage of the law, many of the files related to JFK's assassination have been declassified and released to the public. However, fewer than 4,700 records remain withheld, in part or in full. These documents continue to fascinate historians, conspiracy theorists, and political analysts, as they may hold key insights into the events leading up to and following Kennedy's assassination in Dallas, Texas. Former President Donald Trump's recent executive order aims to address the lingering questions by mandating the full declassification of these records. Trump stated that the continued redaction of these documents is not in line with public interest, calling the release long overdue. His directive requires the Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General to present a comprehensive plan for the release of all remaining JFK-related files within 15 days of the order's issuance. The law and subsequent delays in releasing these records highlight the enduring tension between government transparency and national security concerns. While the move has rekindled debates over the case's unresolved mysteries, it also represents a significant step towards satisfying decades-long demands for clarity and accountability. Former President Donald Trump's executive order lays out a definitive timeline for the release of classified documents related to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, JFK, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, RFK, and civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., MLK. Acknowledging the decades of public interest and speculation surrounding these historical events, Trump emphasized that the full declassification of these records is long overdue. The order mandates that the process begin promptly, setting specific deadlines for the release of the files. For the JFK assassination records, a plan must be presented to the president within 15 days of the order's issuance. This plan, to be prepared by the Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General in coordination with national security advisors, aims to ensure the comprehensive release of all remaining documents. For the records related to the assassinations of RFK and MLK, The timeline is slightly extended. The executive order allows 45 days for the preparation of a similar plan to release these files. Both RFK and MLK were assassinated in 1968, and questions have lingered about the circumstances surrounding their deaths. The Kennedy family and the King family have raised concerns over the years, with RFK Jr. alleging CIA involvement in JFK's death, and the King family questioning whether James Earl Ray acted alone in MLK's murder. While the executive order does not promise an immediate or blanket declassification, the defined timeline signals a commitment to addressing the public's demand for transparency. By setting clear deadlines for action, the order represents a step toward resolving long-standing uncertainties and providing the American public with greater insight into these pivotal historical events. The assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, JFK, and Martin Luther King Jr., MLK, continue to spark controversy and fuel conspiracy theories decades after their deaths. President Donald Trump's recent executive order to declassify records related to these events has reignited debates about the circumstances surrounding these tragedies, as well as the possible involvement of powerful organizations. One of the most contentious claims comes from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., nephew of JFK and son of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. RFK Jr. has openly alleged that the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, was involved in the assassination of his uncle, a theory that has been the subject of speculation for years. The CIA has dismissed these accusations as unfounded, but the lack of transparency surrounding JFK's murder has kept such theories alive. Despite official investigations concluding that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, skeptics, including RFK Jr., continue to question whether Oswald was part of a larger conspiracy. Similarly, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968 has its share of unresolved questions. MLK was fatally shot by James Earl Ray, who later confessed to the crime but recanted his confession shortly afterward. Members of the King family have consistently voiced their belief that Ray did not act alone, and that a broader conspiracy may have been at play. These doubts have been fueled by inconsistencies in the investigation and claims of government surveillance of MLK during his lifetime. Trump's push to release classified records on these events may offer new insights into these assassinations, but it also underscores the deep-seated controversies that continue to surround them. For many, the declassification effort represents a chance to uncover long-sought truths about two of the most defining tragedies in American history. President Donald Trump has positioned himself as an advocate for greater government transparency, particularly regarding the release of records tied to historic assassinations. In his recent executive order, Trump emphasized that the continued redaction and withholding of documents related to the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy, JFK, are not consistent with the public interest. His decision to push for the full release of these records reflects his belief that the American public deserves clarity about these pivotal events in U.S. history. This is a big one. A lot of people have been waiting for this for years, for decades, Trump said while signing the order. His move to declassify the documents is a direct response to years of public speculation and demand for transparency. The assassination of JFK has long been surrounded by conspiracy theories and unanswered questions, fueled by decades of secrecy and redacted information. Trump's order seeks to address these lingering doubts by ensuring that all relevant records are made available. The executive order outlines a specific timeline for the declassification process, starting with JFK-related files. Trump's insistence on transparency extends beyond JFK's assassination, as the order also includes plans to release documents related to the assassinations of Senator Robert F. Kennedy, RFK, and Martin Luther King Jr., MLK. These efforts underscore his broader message that withholding this information is no longer justified. For Trump, the release of these records is long overdue. By declassifying the files, he aims to resolve public curiosity and restore trust in the government's handling of these historic events. His stance reflects a belief that transparency is essential for accountability, especially when it comes to events that have shaped the nation's history. Former President Donald Trump issued a controversial executive order attempting to revoke birthright citizenship for children born in the United States to undocumented migrants and temporary residents, including workers, students, and tourists. The policy, part of Trump's broader anti-immigration agenda, sought to limit the scope of citizenship guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. However, the order was swiftly blocked by a federal judge who declared it unconstitutional. The 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, states that all individuals born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are granted U.S. citizenship. This provision has been a cornerstone of constitutional law for over 150 years, consistently upheld by the Supreme Court. Trump's order sparked immediate backlash, with civil rights groups and Democratic attorneys general from 22 states filing 6 lawsuits to challenge the policy. Judge John Coffiner, a Reagan appointee, issued a temporary 14-day block on the order, citing its inconsistency with the Constitution. The legal battle centers on the interpretation of the phrase "subject to the jurisdiction thereof." Constitutional experts argue that Trump's order goes beyond interpretation and attempts to rewrite the 14th Amendment, which he does not have the authority to do. Some conservative legal scholars assert that the phrase excludes children of undocumented migrants from automatic citizenship, while others argue this view is a misreading of constitutional law. Trump has repeatedly criticized the concept of birthright citizenship, stating, "We have to end it. We're the only country that has it." However, this claim is inaccurate, as numerous countries, including Canada and Mexico, also grant citizenship based on birthplace. The executive order has reignited debates about immigration, constitutional protections, and the limits of presidential power, ensuring that this issue remains a legal and political battleground.